Hey, I'm getting things fired up here. Going to be starting in just a minute. Running just a couple minutes late. Um, just a little bit too much to do. The game is down. Should be up soon-ish. That's why I've got my email up. All right. All right. I'm just kind of checking out, making sure that I am up on our downtime because we have got some downtime. What do we have it set for? Yeah. Till 2 p.m. All right. Making sure I've got everything going. I see myself on Twitch. I do not see myself on Facebook because I haven't even called up the page yet. Sorry, folks. Happy to the Wednesday to you too. All right. Happy to the Wednesday to you too. Oh, no wonder I'm not hearing anything with my headphones. Duh. How about I plug them in, huh? Yeah, okay. There we go. I want to pop out YouTube chat here too quick. So this is, as you can see, going to be a very casual show. I'm just going to do a little Q&A. Don't even know if we'll go the full hour. Just kind of depends how active we get and kind of what's going on. But I actually do have a few tips that I could show you. That's part of why I'm also a few minutes late. Is I had to scrub a file in my personal DDO folder that I'm gonna put on display here. So I wanted to make sure that my game username was not displayed. All right. If I'm the only one talking, do I need the headphones? Sometimes, because I want to be able to know what kind of sound is coming through to you through the computer, that kind of thing as well. So it never hurts to have a pair of headphones on. All right. Hello, welcome to the Weekly Wednesday Lunchtime live stream on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. I'm DDO's community manager, Cordovan, and we are in the middle of some downtime here. We're going to be going till about 2 o'clock on the downtime today. We've got some hardware maintenance, hardware slash software slash whatever you want to call it nowadays. Tech-supported cloud infrastructure and what have you. Anyway, that stuff's happening today, and that goes until 2 o'clock. So we actually have some people down at the data center. That's why it's a longer than usual downtime. That's why we started at 6 a.m. In terms of the game being down, they were doing work even before that. So there we go. There's where we sit today. So I have no game for you. But I do have some stuff that I can talk a little bit about. We can talk about the latest news, do a little Q&A, and I've got a couple of deeper tips and tricks that I could show that I guess having a good downtime day is a good time to do that. So I am going to do that here in just a minute. But first, how's everyone going today? Let me see if I can find some questions to talk about right away. Any chance of getting craftable trinkets with augment slots? We are closer than ever to that being a possibility. I don't know about craftable trinkets with augment slots. Craftable, in particular, will mean something different. However, I am happy to announce that we are on the cusp of announcing some augment work. Yeah, we are on the cusp of announcing some augment work. As a matter of fact, Linabel, who along with Steel Star and some other people did a lot of that work, as I understand it, are just on either late yesterday afternoon or today-ish, tomorrow. We're actually going to be debuting some info to our internal players council on that, which means it's coming up pretty quick that you're going to see that same stuff. That's part of the reason why we want to get it out to the players council as soon as we can, because it's actually not that far away from everybody else seeing it too. But I can at least say that, yeah, we got some augment work that's going to be happening here in the near future. And from what I saw, that post that was being made, kind of talking a little bit about the systems changes that'll be taking place with augments, I think everyone's going to be real excited to hear more about this, because it really does address a lot of the long-term sort of bits of feedback that we've had on our augment system. And when I was reading, I was like, oh, wow. Oh, sweet. So hopefully you will have the same reaction here in the near future. If you're traveling at the speed of light and turn on your headlights, would you see them? No. My understanding, if we want to go into advanced physics, is right, because you would actually start to get warping that would go on. So even if theoretically you could, it would probably just be a tiny thing that would be like on the bottom of kind of the warped perspective you were experiencing. Lizzie on Facebook. I too would love to see us get some additional NPCs in the cargo hold, or perhaps redo the cargo hold, or do something like that. I recognize what you're saying, that especially now that we've removed some of the NPCs and other shrines that were a possibility, it's looking a little barren down there. But we don't have any immediate plans to do that. Just not on our work plate at the moment. Okay. Do I have any details on when transfers will be up? Stay tuned, Deathless. The honest answer to that? Okay, so the answer to that could be, I'm going to say this even though I'm going to jinx it by saying this exactly. There is a possibility the answer to that could be when the game worlds reopen, in terms of world transfers. We have largely, as we understand it, done all the work that needs to be done, and we are in the process, along with some of the other maintenance that we did today, to refire up world transfers. And assuming it checks out and works in a live testing environment, we are in a position to perhaps announce that. So just in case, this is DDO only. This is DDO only. There's some slightly different things going on as to why transfers were disabled in the transfer tech themselves, so that we're going to be able to do this on the DDO side before the Lochar side. But we wanted to get it out as soon as possible. Anyway, for obvious reasons, because you all want it back. And so we'll see. We'll see. Could be today, could be in the very near future, but work is underway to hopefully bring that back to you for both games, frankly, in the near future. But it looks like on the DDO side, at least, it's possible it'll be in the very, very near future here. So, all right. We're going to get a teleport in Madstone. I'm tired of falling in lava. Don't fall in lava, then. Nah, I know what you mean. But no. Okay. Is Lord of Blades supposed to be closed right now? Yes. Sorry, Stika Wish, that the length of time that it has taken to reopen Lord of Blades is unfortunately a victim in part to like kind of COVID related scheduling. Update 47 is a pretty small update. I mean, it's not tiny, but it isn't really the big thing that we've spent a lot of our time working on, which is in fact getting Feywild ready. And update 47 isn't out yet, but it will be in the near future, and we will have some pretty cool release notes to go along with it. But in terms of the main pieces of content, we have got legendary versions of Vision of Destruction, Master Artificer, and Lord of Blades. And those three raids are going to be getting a legendary treatment. However, due to a just kind of one-off weird edge case, as it were, uh, we had to close the heroic Lord of Blades raid. Was it in July now? June, July? Because it was allowing access to the in development version of the legendary Lord of Blades. And unfortunately, we couldn't just, flip a switch and reopen it due to the age of that piece of content and other factors. So that is why Lord of Blades is currently closed on Heroic right now, and why it will soon be available both Heroic and Legendary. Any news on a pre-order? No, other than to say we are getting fairly close enough on that I'm starting to look at our work schedules and figure out when things have to be done by. So there you go. Yeah, I'll get the weekend bonus here that I should be able to get for you here in just a little bit. Any news on chat? Unfortunately, I don't have good news on chat. Some of the same resources that are doing this work today are the same resources that are needed to do the work related to the chat issue. And that plus just a mountain of other things that have been going on has made it so that allocating time for those resources to speak in business speak has proven there's only so much time to go around. So while we've done what we can and we're looking at it, we don't have a solution yet, unfortunately. And that's been part of the problem, is that it's taken longer to resolve than we would have thought. So as soon as I have good news to pass along, I will, but I really don't have anything to pass along right now related to the chat issue, other than to, I guess, again, reiterate that it's impacting me personally. Not that that matters, other than to say I don't really need much in the way of repro. I know it's happening because it's happening to me. And hopefully then when it gets fixed, it'll be fixed for me and everyone else at the same time. So. All right, I am calling up our bonus page so I can make sure I get the scheduling right. So probably one of the first things I could mention is we do have double bonus points going on. I know some people tend to schedule their point acquisitions around that. So if that is you, you should be aware that double bonus points is going to be going on through September 13th. Yes, through September 13th, which makes this the final weekend for it. So that means that you will want to pick up double bonus points sometime between now and the time you get to work on Monday, most likely, something like that. All right. Otherwise, I would mention that our bonus is double Commendations of Valor, and that's going to be kicking off, tomorrow. We did have a couple of real big boosts over this extended holiday weekend. We had both double Mysterious Remnants going on, along with a plus 10 Treasure Hunters boost. So, we're bringing it back down to normal a little bit, as it were, with double Commendations of Valor. But if you're looking to get commendations, this is a good weekend to do that. It is literally doubled, is how that works. All right. Any Pirates Cove? No, but that too will be coming in the near future. Problem with leaving my email open is I don't have my sounds disabled because it's a pain, and I actually use sound sometimes to know when I've got emails coming in. If I hear ping, 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 well, guess what? There's maybe something going on. Or it's noon, and I've got all these marketing emails that are like, would you like to find out more about the thing? And it's like, no, not really. But that's what you're hearing too. Okay. Before I move on to the next thing, I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't any kind of pieces of news that I should mention. We did have a minor patch that has had a couple of things that are worth getting the word out about. So perhaps let me call that one up real quick, which is 47.4.2. So, if you are running the game through Steam, it'll now open the DDO store in an external web browser. This change resolves an issue where players were unable to make purchases using their Steam wallet. Yeah, so it was a pretty big deal, which is why we had to kind of rush out a fix for it as quick as we could, especially because of double bonus points and stuff. So, however, the short long-term fix is that it's just going to open in an external tab. And that'll resolve an issue which really has to do with, multiple account systems kind of ramming together at an intersection and some issues ensuing related to that. So until that gets resolved, this will allow you to make purchases through Steam using the Steam wallet. And what'll happen is it'll open into an external web browser, whatever you have set for your external web browser. If you have a lot of things like pop-up blockers, cookie blockers, and stuff on your browser, then you may run into issues. You might want to try disabling that stuff if you do run into an issue. Otherwise, it should just work, and you'll be able to make a purchase using your Steam wallet. We also fixed it. Basically, this is our best fix for a hardcore leaderboard issue that dates back a while now, where some people got dropped from the hardcore leaderboard during our server migration. And in order to redisplay on the leaderboard, they needed to ping the Favor or Reaper XP system. Generally, the Favor system was the preferred method to do that. Or like completing a quest, anything that would ping the hardcore leaderboard standing. But we did hear from some people who were like, I was not going to play that character before the end of the season, so what do I need to do? Well, what you need to do now, as of this patch, 46.4.2, is simply log into that character. All you have to do is log in, because we are now updating the hardcore leaderboards when a living character logs into the game world. Obviously, if they were dead, they wouldn't be on the leaderboard, in addition to existing actions that cause the leaderboard to update. So we're just adding another one to it, which is log that character in. So that way you don't even have to run anything. If that happens to be a fairly small number, but, important number of people that ran into that issue. Additionally, we did finally get those top 100 leaderboards up in the Hall of Heroes for hardcore seasons 1 and 2, and that was done this week as well, or last Friday actually, because it all blends together. Yeah, all right. I think that's it. So unless I've got a lot of questions to ask, I'm going to actually call up a little bit of desktop and show you a couple tips and tricks then before I probably wrap up the show. No. I can answer that non-servium on YouTube. Is Hardcore Season 4 going to start ASAP after Season 3? We are going to be taking... the schedule is whatever we want it to be, ultimately. And I think we're going to give it a short break after Season 3 here before we bring out Season 4 and figure out what we want to do in terms of maybe the next couple of seasons, schedule wise and things like that, and fit it into other 2021 work. So I would expect it to be a little bit, at least a little bit longer of a break this time than it was between, say, seasons 2 and 3. Roy, I have not heard of plans to address the old guild ranking system, which had to get kind of removed because it just doesn't work. DDO is a pretty rudimentary guild ranking system, which is, are you a leader, are you a successor, are you an officer, are you a member? There was a time in the distant past where work had been done to try to create sub ranks, and that caused some immediate and serious issues in the game world that had to be addressed. That was a decade ago now, at least. But the work has never been done to reintegrate any of that stuff back into the game. Jesse, we have nothing to announce about any plans to offer a season pass in the future. If that is something that we ever end up doing someday, then certainly we would be happy to let people know. But there's no plans. We're going to have a lot more, Kevin, about kind of how the level cap increase system will work as we get closer to that. But it's not going to be happening right away. Its time will come, but we still have to get update 47 out the door yet, and some other things. So it's a little early to talk about how we may implement a new kind of past life or anything like that. The issue with, say, component pouches and scroll cases is that currently it is not possible to use something that is already in one of those container bags, like the kind of actual container bag that you get. What's called internally they call it a singleton bag. I don't know why it's called that. It's just an old name for when it was created. But it's a kind of bag that essentially, does what you would expect regarding, like, say, collecting items from the game. And there's a fundamental issue where you can't use an item from within one of those containers. And so that is ultimately why component pouches and scroll cases don't exist. You could do a thing where, as long as you don't try to use anything from the bag and it's only to pull from or move to, then we could do something like that. But then, of course, it's not what people want with a component pouch at the very least, and probably a scroll case too. Although, there might be some interest in just hoarding res scrolls and things like that. So I'm not saying even if we did a lesser version, there wouldn't be any interest. But that's really fundamentally what's going on there, and what's up. So, all right, I wanted to just briefly actually call up my own desktop. Yes, my own desktop here. This is on a side monitor, which is why I'm kind of trying to have to make it work for the stream. But I wanted to bring up a couple of techie bits that I don't know how many people actually know about. So I'm going to mention a couple of different things. This first one is about your user preferences INI file. This is a user preferences file that generally is located in your My Documents. So you'll go into your My Documents, go into your Dungeons and Dragons Online folder, and then you'll see all your screenshots. And then I'll get to this key map file in a second, but the one that is probably of most use to the general user would be user preferences.ini. Now, this is a configuration file. However, you can open it up. A bunch of different bits of information. But one of the things you're going to get is, I've got this one pre-staged, so it doesn't have any kind of personal info in there. You're going to find your username, your world name, things like that. But see this, all the UI options that you have inside of the game client? Things like whether or not you're doing full screen, what's your monitor resolution, are you doing in windowed mode, what is your windowed resolution, input, turnkey speed, left mouse button attacks, true or false. And some of this stuff is a little techy, but it's not really that techy. It's not really that bad. So you can adjust a lot of this stuff, especially once you kind of figure out what it does, and you can actually do this from the file itself. Now, this is advanced user stuff, so don't go complaining to customer service if something gets messed up because Cordovan told you to do this on the live stream. Don't be an idiot. If you don't know how to do this, don't do it. The other thing you can do is also, frankly, just make a copy of this file, put it over somewhere as a backup, and then you can always bring it back to its default state. Strongly recommended. But you can set all this stuff from here and it works. On top of that, if you have a weird monitor request, like I don't know, you're playing in an unusual resolution, you can sometimes, not always, but sometimes direct change the resolution from here and it'll work. Sometimes it won't work. I've had mixed results, but I have done it. When I wanted to force some kind of weird laptop resolution that I had to run in at the time. So I know it does work, but it doesn't always persist. The other thing, of course, is that once you do get this stuff saved, you're going to want to make sure you actually save backup of this file as well. So that, again, if it's ever rewritten, which sometimes it will be, you can just pull it back and put it in. But you can not only do this for the computer at your house, but this file is portable. So on this file, you can simply drop it onto a USB stick or something like that, and there you go. So no problems. All right. So that was the one thing I was going to mention. The other thing I wanted to real quick mention is this one. And that is that if you go into your main game folder, by default it's going to be like program files x86, and then you'll have one for our games, and then you'll be able to put see basically where the game folder is installed, right? This is all the game data for DDO. Check this one up on top. See where I'm highlighted? I don't have a screenwriter right now, but it's the one that's up there. It says backup. When you click into backup here, you will see a bunch of game files. This is really a backup that will allow the game client installation folder to pull back some of its game update data if it needs to. That's the repair option, is largely what this is. But what you can do is actually Control A to select it all, Control C to copy and paste it over, and then go into your main DDO folder here, and then Control V and paste it all back in. Now, why would you want to do something like that? Maybe you ran into an issue when you were trying to update the game client and it just plain busted for some reason. And so you're getting like installing, you're just getting weird messages. I don't even want to get into what you might be seeing. It doesn't really hurt other than bandwidth to do this for the most part. So just, if you want to do it, you can. Copy the files from your backup folder into your main install folder. Just copy it over there, overwrite that stuff, and relaunch the game client, and it'll repatch up. If you're having a patching issue, that may be something that's of value to you. The other thing I wanted to mention, and again, this is your Uncle Cordovan speaking, not your I work for customer service Cordovan. Do not, if you mess things up, it is not my fault. It's your fault. You are to blame. Don't come crying to customer service or me. Make a backup of the stuff if any of this seems interesting to you. However, the DDO installation is super portable. So you can simply grab all the files here and drop it onto a portable SSD or drop it onto a USB stick. And then you can simply copy it over onto a different computer, laptop, new computer build, whatever the heck you want it to be, basically. As long as your game client's not like super old, if the last time you downloaded the game client was like 2006, don't do this. But if, you have a modern basic game client, you can just copy this stuff over into a folder. It doesn't even matter what the folder is. And drop it onto a SSD or USB stick or what have you, and copy it over into the new computer. Or not. If, for example, you're using a high-speed external SSD, you probably don't even have to copy it over. And then you can just relaunch the game using the D&D launcher right here. See D&D launcher? That one will work. Turbine launcher will also work. Just the reason that old turbine thing exists is just in case, so it doesn't bust people's game clients. But you really want to use the D&D launcher here. Just click on it and the game client boots up. There's no like deep Windows registration key stuff or anything like that going on. You can just drop this onto a folder and play it on any computer you want to. And especially if you've backed up, say, that user preferences INI file and stuff, and you can just get your key boom boom, and you get your keys exactly what you want, the resolution exactly what you want. You can do this. So I did want to call out because I suspect a lot of tickets that come into technical support could be, some percentage of those could be resolved if people were comfortable enough going into their own backup folder here, copying it over, and just sort of giving it another shot. But of course, that's not going to solve every issue either. So don't expect this to be a miracle cure, as it were. But it's certainly a couple of things that you can try. And this portability is something that I don't know a lot of people really know about DDO. Frankly, it's been one of its long advantages as far as I'm concerned, because I can very quickly kind of get up whatever I need to on other computers, live stream and otherwise. So anyway, I wanted to point that stuff out, and I think that has some value to it. Let me see. I don't want to show off my desktop too much. I thought it was clear, and then I had a monitor thing, and a bunch of icons got ported over. And I thought that was clear, but I don't know. So let me try to take as much little screen space as I can at this point, and see what I can show you. One more thing, and that is this key map file. It too will open up into Notepad. It's more complicated than, in terms of what you're looking at, is not always 100% clear, right? But if you sort of figure it out, if you kind of figure out the language of it, you can do a whole bunch with presetting your key mapping, perhaps setting up a game controller. doing a whole bunch of stuff. So you'll see things like, say, um, see if I can find a good example. Here we go. Camera rotate roll reset. Old would be the previous. Remember, each one has an option for two, right? So one could go there, and then the first default is going to be the second on the line. And so you'll just kind of have to figure out what you're supposed to write down. It's something numerical. Numpad slash will do camera roll reset. But if you sort of decrypt this stuff or feel comfortable knowing what this kind of key button presses are, you can just change it from here. And then you can save. Again, make sure you have a backup and also get a backup of your new savings. But you can just put all that stuff in here, and that too is basically portable. So you can just drop it from computer to computer if you really want to. All right, now let me call up chat. The trick with this is to make sure you have the correct latest DX9 installed on the destination computer. You're absolutely right, Shoemaker. As you well know, DDO has long had some compatibility issues with DX12. Generally not that hard to fix. All you need to do is run the DirectX Windows runtime installer and it'll take care of it. But if that's a common thing you may need to deal with if you're porting it to a different computer. Usually you can delete the INI file, then reload the game, and that will bring up a working INI. Yeah, generally what will happen with our game launcher is that if it sees something corrupt or it runs into an issue, it'll download and just recreate another one by default, which is again why you might want to have a backup of all that work you just did, just in case something were to cause that to reset. So but yes, it will generally. That's why, don't do this if you're worried about it. But in generally, it's fairly safe to do for the most part. Can I run a quest in the future with 5 hirelings to get my impressions? I could do that. I have done that in the past, however. Let me just say this. I not only ran with 5 hirelings, but I made sure each of those hirelings could have a hireling. And each one of them could summon a monster. And then I summoned a monster and had out my artificer dog, I believe it was at the time. This is pre-falconry or whatever. And it was a gosh darn menagerie. It was like Scooby-Doo style going across the screen. It was pretty amusing. So yeah, I could potentially do that someday. All right, let me check. I'm just checking chats because I'm down one monitor right now, so which is fine, but I had to call it up. You find running DDO from Windows 7 gives way better graphics than running it under default Windows 10. I have not found that to be true. In my experience, I've found that DDO runs great under Windows 10, perhaps better than 7. But personal experience is going to matter a lot on that one. I don't know about Iron Defenders or Wolf Pets necessarily getting a lot of work in the near future, muck rusting on YouTube, but I would say that it's something that we'd love to do given an opportunity in the future. All right. I think I'm caught up on chat, and I think I'm caught up on work email and stuff too. So I think I might be ending the stream here a little bit early. And yep, I'm not seeing the game worlds up yet, so we'll have more information in the near future on that. Thanks very much for watching the stream, everybody. Appreciate you being here, and I will talk to you all in the near future. Bye bye.